Today on Inquirer, Tropical Cyclone Mawar re-intensifies into Super Typhoon. Pag-asa says Mawar may trigger monsoon rains in Luzon and Visayas next week. Victims of the war on illegal drugs call on the International Criminal Court to resume its probe on the alleged extrajudicial killings. After President Marcos certified it as urgent, Senate eyes Maharlika Fund bill approval next week. And Marc Leviste confirms he's the Marc Kris Aquino is in a relationship with.
Good evening. The State Weather Bureau says Mawar has re-intensified into a super typhoon, adding that it may bring about monsoon rains over parts of Luzon and Visayas next week. To give us an update, joining us live is Pag-asa weather forecaster Rhea Torres. Ms. Rhea.
Yes po, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. So currently, based sa ating latest kapag tayo dito sa binabantayan natin is bagyong Mawar. Currently still outside our Philippine area of responsibility. Huli po itong namataan sa layong 2,000 kilometers. Silangan po yan or east ng southeastern Luzon. And currently nagtataglay siya ng lakas ng hangin na umaabot ng 195 kilometers per hour malapit sa gitna at pagbugso na abot ng 240 kilometers per hour. Its current movement or yung pagkilos niya ay west-northwestward sa bilis na 15 kilometers per hour. And currently, wala pa itong direktang epekto sa anumang bahagi ng ating bansa. Ngunit inaasahan pa rin ito'y papasok ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility by Friday evening or Saturday morning. So currently, possible po habang papalapit itong binabantayan natin na si Bagyong Mawar or possible na si Bagyong Betty ay ma-enhance or mapapalakas nito yung epekto ng southwesterly wind flow at magdadala ng mga pag-ulan, particularly sa western sections ng ating bansa. Meanwhile, yung trough o yung extension nito ay posibleng lumapit over sa may northern Luzon area at makakaranas po ng mga pag-ulan dahil sa epekto nitong si Bagyong Betty or si Bagyong Mawar sa northern Luzon, particularly sa Cagayan Valley this coming weekend. Although sa ngayon po, mababa pa rin yung chance na ito ay maglandfall sa anumang bahagi ng ating bansa. Patuloy pa rin tayo sa pag-monitor at mag-antabay sa updates na nilalabas ng Pag-asa.
Rhea, nabanggit mo, no, sa ngayon wala pang direktang epekto itong bagyong ito sa ating bansa. Pero ano yung mga lugar na tinitingnan natin na posibleng maapektuhan itong bagyong ito once ito ay lumapit sa ating bansa?
So yes po, so currently yung pinakamalapit na areas or maapektuhan nito is or rather yung direct effects ay mostly sa Cagayan Valley as well as extreme northern Luzon, so sa Batanes and Babuyan Island. So those specific areas, asahan po natin heavy rains starting this Sunday or yung this weekend. Meanwhile, pag yung indirect effects naman po yung pinag-uusapan natin, possibly po mahahatak na po yung southwesterly winds at makakaranas po tayo ng increased frequency or mataas na chance sa mga pag-ulan, particularly sa western sections ng Luzon and Visayas this coming weekend as well.
Rhea, kapag pinag-usapan natin itong maximum sustained winds, yung gustiness, baka may mga kababayan tayo, no, na mahirapan intindihin kung gaano kalakas kapag sinabi natin ganito, 195 kilometers per hour or kung anumang gustiness yan. So right now, nasa tubig pa itong bagyong ito. So there's a possibility na lumakas pa ito sa mga darating na araw sa ating mga manunood kung gaano kalakas yung impact nito na mas maiintindihan ng mga nanonood sa atin ngayon.
So currently, asahan po natin, ang category ng bagyo ay nakabase po sa lakas ng hangin na malapit ito sa gitna. So asahan po natin, pag naranasan po natin yung 100, or currently it is at 195 kilometers per hour malapit sa gitna. And by Sunday, possible po na umabot ito ng 215 kilometers per hour. So yung mga kabahayan natin na may weak structures or hindi gaano kaganda ang pundasyon, most likely maapektuhan po or maapektuhan po talaga ng lakas ng hangin na dala nitong binabantayan na bagyo. So regardless kung magiging maulan, most likely may danyos po talaga mararanasan. May chances po na ma-uproot po yung mga puno or may chances din po na matanggalan ng mga bubong yung mga kabahayan na may hinang pundasyon.
Rhea, huling katanungan na lamang, no, nabanggit mo kanina na ang binabantayan natin ngayon ay itong Cagayan area at saka itong extreme northern Luzon. How about yung Metro Manila? Maapektuhan ba ang Metro Manila nitong bagyong ito? Kasi nakita ko doon sa satellite image, parang medyo malaki talaga yung sakop niya, ano?
Yes po, tama po. Pero pagdating naman po sa radius nito, currently nasa 400 or nasa 400 kilometers radius itong binabantayan na bagyo. So malaki po talaga yung sakop niya. Pero as of the moment, yung track ay most likely lalapit dito sa may extreme northern Luzon area. So yung direct radius nito ay hindi pa maapektuhan yung Metro Manila. Ngunit pagdating po ng this coming weekend, most likely yung mga magpaulan na mararanasan natin dito sa Metro Manila ay dala po ng paghatak nitong bagyo sa southwesterly wind flow. So mataas pa rin yung chance may mga pag-ulan tayo or indirect effects na dala nitong bagyo.
Maraming salamat, Rhea. That's Pag-asa weather forecaster Rhea Torres. Victims of the Duterte administration's war on drugs and their kin call on the International Criminal Court to resume its probe into the alleged extrajudicial killings, abuses, and other crimes committed during his term. Sofia Abrogar has the report.
In consolidated accounts reported by the International Criminal Court Registry's Victims Participation and Reparations section on May 22, drug war victims decry that justice for abuses remains elusive and reflects the larger fragility of the Philippine judicial system. The VPRS report follows a consultation process that reaped 5 victim representations on behalf of 350 individual victims and 165 families. Victims are asserting that the International Court's probe remains their one real chance at attaining accountability and reparations from the campaign's implementers, refuting the Philippine government's prior argument that the ICC's pretrial chamber failed to establish sufficient gravity to pursue further investigation into the war on drugs. According to the VPRS, victims of rights violations in the country are continually forced to navigate a prevalent climate of fear and impunity, making immediate rights remedies inaccessible to them. The report also stresses that documentation remains a key issue in drug war justice, as suspect police officials have refused to authenticate reports and produce comprehensive records on campaign operations. To add salt to the already severe wound, relatives of several victims also claim that police personnel would charge them exorbitant amounts to have their kin autopsied or properly buried. The promotion and even election of officials associated with the drug war are another symptom of the Philippines' fraught justice system, said the victims. They also raised that the drug war campaign has continued under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., saying that the administration has made no overt action to prosecute nor hold accountable any of the top officials, nor to review the policy. Denouncing the continued deprivation of domestic justice, one victim recounted that authorities laughed when they and other victims approached them for remedies in July and August of 2022, a few months after the presidential elections in May. Latest government data tags the number of drug-related police killings at 6,525 as of May 2022. However, human rights groups estimate that including vigilante and extrajudicial killings, the number may go as high as 30,000. This is Sofia Abrogar, reporting for INQUIRER.net.
Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri says the chamber plans to approve the controversial Maharlika Investment Fund bill next week after it received a boost through President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s certification of the measure as urgent. In a message to reporters, Zubiri says they are accommodating the last few members who want to interpolate on Monday and open the period of amendments right after. With Marcos tagging the MIF bill as high priority, the Senate may forego the required 3-day period between the second and third reading of bills. This allows the Senate to approve the MIF bill on the second and third reading on the same day. Zubiri also called on the House of Representatives, who passed a different version of the proposed measure last year, to yield to the Senate's MIF bill. If the House adopts the Senate's version of the proposed MIF, Congress can elevate it to the President, sans the need for a bicameral conference committee to reconcile the differences between the chambers' versions of the measure. Among the lawmakers who are set to interpolate and scrutinize the MIF bill on Monday are Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel and Senate Deputy Minority Leader Risa Ontiveros. Senator Francis Escudero, meanwhile, said he will await a clean copy of the Senate bill's final version with amendments that have yet to be embedded by the Senate Committee on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies. The Department of Justice says it would look into claims that law enforcers allegedly tortured a suspect in the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo. In a television interview, Senior Deputy State Prosecutor Richard Anthony Fadulyon says they would investigate the allegations made by the suspect Osmundo Rivero, adding that those responsible would face charges should they find any basis. Rivero narrated in his counter affidavit how he was forced by law enforcers to admit his participation in the Degamo killing, saying he was threatened, suffocated, and strangulated. However, Fadulyon says the suspects should be accountable for their claims should they find no basis behind the allegations. He warns them not to toy with the criminal justice system by coming up with changes in their statements without being able to explain them. 4 suspects in the March 4 Pamplona massacre, including Rivero, have retracted their earlier testimonies. The Department of Budget and Management approves the release of over 25 billion pesos to the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation or PhilHealth to cover the 1-year health insurance premiums of 8 million qualified and enrolled Filipino indigents. DBM says its Chief Secretary Amena Pangandaman approved the special allotment release order on Tuesday. The budget of 25.16 billion pesos will benefit 8.3 million indigents. According to the department, indigent persons are those with no visible means of income or whose income is insufficient for family subsistence. They are identified by the Department of Social Welfare and Development based on a specific criteria. The fund will be sourced from authorized allotments in the 2023 national budget. In April, DBM approved the release of nearly 43 billion pesos to cover 1-year health insurance premiums of over 8.5 million senior citizens nationwide. Bohol Island becomes the Philippines' first global geopark, according to the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. In its release, UNESCO describes Bohol Island as a geopark abound in geosites such as caves, sinkholes, and cone karst, citing the iconic Chocolate Hills. UNESCO also highlights the Bohol's local community, saying its traditions and culture are proof of how the people adapted to their natural environment. According to UNESCO, global geoparks are single, unified geographical areas where sites and landscapes of international geological significance. UNESCO says these sites are managed with a holistic concept of protection, education, and sustainable development. Currently, there are 195 UNESCO global geoparks in 48 countries. Batangas Vice Governor Marc Leviste confirms his relationship with Kris Aquino as he clarifies he is the Marc being referred to in Aquino's post. Ann Pasahol has the report.
After months of speculation, Batangas Vice Governor Marc Leviste finally confirmed his relationship with Kris Aquino. On his Instagram stories, Leviste clarified that his real nickname is Marc with a C. He made this clarification a week after the Queen of All Media revealed her new romance with a certain Marc. The politician shared a 2021 photo of him and his 3 children with letter standees of his real nickname, noting that he only uses Marc with a K on his social media platforms and political materials. In an earlier Instagram post, Leviste also called Aquino "my love," thanking her for endorsing his son C2 for student council position. Aside from the endorsement, Aquino also revealed that Leviste's son has taken to addressing her as Mommy Kris. Aquino, who is currently in California for medical treatments for her autoimmune diseases, made public her new relationship with Leviste through a gratitude post last May 18. This is Ann Pasahol from INQUIRER.net Entertainment.
Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Pauline Del Rosario ng Bandera. Pauline?
Hello Neil at sa mga kabandera natin all over the universe. Heto ang latest chika. Lalong umiinit ang issue sa uploaded music video ng kantang Ikaw Pa Rin ni Jason Hernandez. Nag-react na rin kasi mismo ang kapatid ni Moira de la Torre na si Jamie. Magugunitang nag-trending ang music video na kung saan tampok ang ilang wedding video clips ni Jason at Moira. Burado na ang tweet pero ayon kay Jamie, naiirita siya sa kanta at music video ni Jason dahil taliwas umano ito sa katotohanan. Sabi niya, malayo ang sinasabi ni Jason na mahal pa rin nito ang kanyang ate. Ibinunyag pa ni Jamie na hindi nagpaalam si Jason kay Moira na gagamitin nito ang video clips sa naging kasal noong 2019. Nagtaka naman si Jason sa sinabi ng kapatid ni Moira dahil ayon sa kanya, naipakita na niya ito kay Jamie last year. Nilinaw rin ni Jason na hindi totoong hindi siya nag-effort matapos ang paghihiwalay nila ng ex-wife. Ayon sa kanya, ilang beses siyang nagmakaawa. Nagawa pa nga raw niyang lumuhod at umiyak sa harap ni Moira para magkabalikan sila. Iginiit din ni Jason na mahal pa rin niya si Moira at ito raw ang dahilan kaya hindi siya nagkakaroon ng bagong relasyon matapos ang kanilang paghihiwalay. Magugunitang sunod-sunod ang pagpo-post ni Jason kasama ang kanyang mystery girl. Una nang dinanay ni Moira na siya ang babaeng nakakasama ni Jason sa pictures recently. At yan, ang latest bandera chika natin for today. Thank you, Neil!
Maraming salamat, Pauline. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.